How to deposit on eToro. First, you need to log into your platform on eToro as is and create your account if you haven't done so already. Then go to the bottom left where it says deposit funds. Remember that depending on where you are, the payment methods may change. But before depositing, remember that you can select dollars here and you can deposit in dollars, euros, pound sterling, or Australian dollars. For example, if it were in euros, it automatically converts because the currency within eToro is in dollars. That's why when you deposit in dollars, no conversion is made. For example, here, if I deposit in pounds, I select here and enter, for example, 500, and it automatically converts how much it will cost. That is, you deposit this amount, and how much it will finally be in dollars is the conversion that will be deposited into your account. Let's say it were in dollars, so let's suppose we're going to deposit $100. And remember something very important now that appears here, the minimum deposit is $50, although this depends on the regulation you are under and also on your account type. I simply recommend that when you go to deposit, you enter just one, and there it automatically shows you the minimum. It may show you that the minimum is $200 or the minimum is $50. This depends on the country you are located in. And that's it. Let's say we've already selected here and entered $100. Now the deposit method is here. It says select your deposit method and it shows both debit card and bank transfer. Remember that this is not the same as a credit card, and if you use a credit card, your deposit may be rejected because it's debit. But what happens with a bank transfer is that the minimum deposit is $500. And if I change it, for example, to euros, I enter an amount and it tells me the minimum is 435 euros, which converted to dollars is the same $500. And the same with each currency. If I enter, for example, 10, it says it's 380 pounds to deposit $500. And in Australian dollars, if we enter, for example, 10, it tells us we need to deposit a minimum of 775 Australian dollars to deposit 500 US dollars. So, well, if we wish to do it with a debit card, it simply allows us a smaller amount. For example, here 50, we add a new card, and here it will appear for you to enter your card number, expiration date, security code, first name, second name, and last names. And once you have this loaded, you click deposit, and the deposit is seen instantly. It doesn't take practically any time. In a matter of seconds, the deposit is reflected here in the balance. Now, if we return here and go now to bank transfer, we will choose, for example, the $500 as a minimum and click continue to see how it appears to deposit with this. So let's wait a few moments, a few seconds, and done, it's loaded. So what should we do here? In this scenario, we need to start a transfer from our bank. It's crucial to remember that if we choose dollars, we must transfer dollars. This is because if you select euros and then transfer dollars, the conversion won't be accurate. As a result, the funds might be returned and you could incur a fee, among other issues. So what's essential here? Indeed, it informs us here that when you are sending the funds, you must include the transaction number in the transfer description, which is this specific one. Naturally, do not use mine. Utilize the one that appears for you because that is how the funds are accurately reflected in your account. If you use a different transaction number, the funds might be credited to someone else's account, and if you omit it, eToro will not know for whom the deposit is intended. Then, you simply need to ensure that you deposit $500. Remember something very crucial here. If you are transferring from a bank that might impose a fee for sending the funds, then $500 must arrive at eToro. For instance, if you are going to transfer $500 but your bank charged you $20 and only $480 arrived, it is not a valid deposit and it might be returned, and you will still incur additional fees. So, you must ensure that when the funds arrive, they arrive in full with those $500. Then, you just start entering the details into your bank, such as the beneficiary's name, address, bank name, bank address, account number, SWIFT code for international transfers, and the IBAN code if your bank requires it. Once you send the funds, it takes 1 to 2 business days, which is considerably slower than using a card, but it is simpler, easier, and sometimes more advantageous to transfer from here. Once you have these details saved and make your transfers, you just wait a few days for the transfer and it arrives. It's much simpler and easier. It's really not difficult. If, for instance, something goes wrong, like you decide you want to deposit a different amount, you click where it says change, wait for the page to reload, and you can enter, for example, that you want to deposit in euros and deposit 1500. You enter that and click continue. Observe what happens next. In this scenario, we chose euros, remember, not dollars, and the conversion will be made. Observe what happened. The details changed here. Now we have a completely different deposit to make, so now it appears in euros. What would we have to do? Send a deposit in euros. If we send it in dollars again, it will create a problem. So, you change it, put it in the currency you wish to deposit, and that's how we can deposit on eToro.